Welcome to the after show of Audio Discord. We're recording this right after episode 7, and I think Anthony brought up a good point about why there's something that's not on the list, and I think a very good honorable mention to the over 1,000 mark is the Campfire Audio Andromeda, and I don't think, again, like, this is my opinion of it. It's I wouldn't say it's good. Oh, here it goes again. I think when it came out, it was better, but I think like with time, with the passage of time, there's just much more like better IEMs out there. Like, well, it's been 3 years. It's just really not, like, I don't think the Andromeda really stood up from the test of time. And I feel like back in the day, people always like to think, agree with it or not, Andromeda is, the gatekeeper to the Chronicles S rank, or the worst of the hi-fi. And I think that, with the release of IERM9, it really has taken up that mantle of, what should, like, what should be the gatekeeper of that, to mid-fi to hi-fi. And I think M9 is just overtaking Andro in that. So Anthony, since you want to talk about the Andro, why don't you say a little bit about the Andro?
I think it's a good discussion because it has been such a popular IEM in the portable audio world for so long. When I first, I never really liked IEMs that much, but when I first started reading more about IEMs, this was the one that everyone talked about, and this is the one that you get if you want a flagship level IEM. So, I went through and listened to a bunch of IEMs, and then I finally got to listen to the Campfire Andromeda, probably a couple of years later, actually. And so it had this gigantic amount of hype to it. And, everyone raved about its soundstage and its, treble energy that it has. And when I listened to it, I was like, this isn't as good as I imagined it would be. It's missing like a whole bunch of the mid-range, and it's got way too much bass, and I really didn't like it. The only redeeming part of it for me was it had really good soundstage, and decent imaging, and so I listened to it probably 3 years after it came out, so maybe it didn't withstand the test of time, like you mentioned, as well as some of the other IEMs that came out after it.
Right. And at that time, what was like the flagship that you have tried before the Andro?
Well, I got it. So I got it from headphones.com.
Was that before or after you got your VX?
It was before.
Okay.
Yeah. They sent me. So I was interested in the Solaris at the time, and I was also interested in the Andromeda. So headphones.com just said, "Hey, we're just going to send you, all the Campfire products." So they sent me the Vega, the Andromeda, and the Solaris all at once. So I got to try all three of them. And, the Vega was by far the worst one. But the Solaris was the one that I ended up preferring and buying of that batch of 3 headphone or IEMs that I tried.
I don't think we talk about that part of your life. I think it's more like the dark path of
the
Anthony.
dark path, yeah.
Yeah, and you shady Singaporeans are notoriously from hating CFA. So why is that? Why is that, Ken? The Campfire Andromeda. What's your beef with Ken Ball, man? Come on.
No. Okay, I think it's some backstory. So I think a lot of Singaporeans do love the Andromeda. So
But not you.
No, okay. So some backstory. So like 2 years ago, 2+ years ago, when I first tried it, I went to the store. I was trying to replace my broken IEM. I was like, hey, my friend recommended me to come to this store. Like, hey, what should I try? So like the counter staff was like, oh, this is one of the best out there. You should try it. I'm like, oh, okay. That has been the Andro. I listened to it for a few minutes. I'm like, oh, it's just all right. And the whole store goes like, oh, you are in trouble. And I'm like, I didn't know what was that IEM. And I was like, okay, so what's going on? I was completely perplexed. and after that, I tried other stuff, and like, yeah, Android was never great to me. It was not bad, definitely, but it was not great. And to put things into perspective, it is dead center in C rank in my ranking list. It's all right. It's just about it, just not wow, not anything fantastic, not anything great, but it's definitely not bad. That's about all.
I think Among Us Corn is probably the harshest when it comes to Andro, right? You just think it's all right.
yeah.
Again, like again, like what's your thing with it? Again, you're again from Singapore, so obviously you're biased.
The thing with Android is that it sounds hazy, especially if
Oh,
they
here it comes.
under
Here it
one
comes.
ohm source. Yeah, honestly, it just sounds hazy and low resolution.
Oh.
Yeah, you do have to have like a higher ohm source, like around perhaps 3 or more, for it to sound anywhere like any semblance of like a non-hazy kind of sound. So I mean, the thing is that my sources are all under 1 ohm, and the Andromeda sounds hazy off my own sources. So I would say the Andromeda by itself, accounting for the fact that I use 1 ohm, it isn't really very good at all. And when it comes to the treble range, it sounds better when you deep fit it. Like the cymbals aren't as clinky sounding, like they don't like clink clank clink clank, but it still has that kind of very clinky kind of artificial kind of cymbal reproduction going on.
You mean like throwing a spoon downstairs?
Something like that.
Yes.
It just sounds very odd. Like isn't the mid treble is emphasized much more over than the lower treble, so it just sounds very weird. Where, for example, if you hit a cymbal on a stick, on a cymbal, it doesn't accentuate the initial contact, but it does accentuate the cymbal moving and crashing in the air.
Right, and when it comes to Android, obviously this is like a portify IEM. You're supposed to use like a portable gear with it, and most portable gear do have like a low output impedance. So this is your critique of that your source is always under 1 ohm. It's like, yeah, well, most people's source is under 1 ohm, and most people do prefer like say, oh, you have to buy an IEM match with your Android, right? Just to increase the impedance on the IEM, right? Isn't that like maybe like a fix for the IEM?
Yeah. They do it as well to, I believe, to reduce the heat on their sources if there is.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. That's also the problem, right?
Yeah. So it's like they think of it as killing 2 birds in 1 stone.
Okay.
But for me, I tried it. I mean, I never had a heat issue, or like I don't care about heat that much. I mean, I've not heard anything that's like irks me that great when it hits us and I play music. It's fine, but I tried with different combination at the store, their sauce, whatever sauce. I'm like, no, this is just not for me. And in fact, what people think is bassy and stuff, I'm like, there's no bass. It's just floaty. There's no sub bass, and it's just bright, picky. And after that, when I realized, when I understood graphs and I measured, it's that 9 to 10K region. There's just no go for me.
Right, and I think it depends on where you come from. As in, what I mean by I think this is like Andro is probably like the first expensive IEM that people like get back in the day. And I think even if you're comparing Andro to like something that's like much cheaper, maybe some random chi-fi Andro, I don't know, maybe Andro sounds more impressive compared to something that's maybe like $300 or something like that. And again, like when I say back in the day, I mean like back in the day that there is really not too many IEMs that's like in the mid-tier category. So if you go back to our previous podcast on episode 6, is that most of those IEM on the $100 to $500 category, they don't exist 3 years ago when Android was just coming out. So when you make that big step from that 1 to 300 bad IEMs jumping up to the Android, I can see why people are very impressive. Like we're impressed with the quality of that IEM, right?
But hang on, don't QDC have the 8 series at the time, or it's not out yet?
Yes, but QTC wasn't really popular with again like very unfair comparison, right? Obviously, because I am a QTC show. Yes, A series was probably released around the same time as the Andro, and that's why you see that there isn't really like at that time in China, you don't really see too many people getting an Andro.
Okay, but
Yeah,
8S is a little bit more expensive, am I right?
right, because like without again, right now you can get a used Andro. I see them as cheap as $600 or $700, right?
But a brand new price.
Yeah, you will never be able to find a QTC 8 series for maybe like for maybe that kind of price, maybe in China, but not in the States, and you don't really see a lot of 8 series, right?
So for brand new at that time, 2 years or 2.5 years ago, 8SL still costs more than Andro, am I right?
Right. It does. Like ASL costs about $1,500 when it just came out, I believe.
How about 4SS? I will take 4SS over Andro anytime.
And yeah, and then that would be around the same price. 4SS will be a little bit cheaper, and I do think it's probably again 4SS is on the list, and I do think it's a bit cheaper, and it's also probably does everything better than the Andro.
But I guess at that time it is more expensive than now, right?
Well, no. I think at the time it's always $1,000. Like 4SS has always been $1,000, and right now it's a little bit cheaper now. Yeah.
Right.
So it's always around the Andro price. Yeah.
All right, then I'll pay the same price as Andro, and I'll get a custom for 4CS.
Yeah, you get a 4CS for about $1,100, $1,200. Like when the 4 series just came out, and that's why it's really not that popular in China, because QTC is a thing. But you like again, like going back in the day again, like you don't really see QTC, on the American market or whatever. And I think like from the more budget friendly Chi-Fi comparison, you jumping up to that Andro point, you don't really. You really do like people like that's why people get that surprise factor. Say, "Wow, this is what hi-fi sounds like," and it is back in the day, back in 3 years ago, it is.
Yeah, I do want to go at that point. Since Andro's been released, it's been popular. Back the Chi-Fi market, I think Theo, a really big portable audio company, they tried to. At least this is what I think they did. They tried to copy the frequency response of the Andromeda with their FA7 IEM, I think, and it sounded like utter garbage. It was like probably the worst IEM I've ever heard. And then more recently, T Audio, Lin Sol's brand, they made the Voyager 3, which is also has a very similar measurement to the Andromeda, and it has switches which you can kind of tailor to your preference, but and the switches actually kind of make it sound like what Andromeda would sound like with like the earbuddy or the IE match, but it also doesn't sound anywhere near as good as the Andromeda. But again, I don't really like the Andromeda, but that is something worth noting.
Well, I have not heard the V3, but yeah, the FA7, correct? Yeah, FA7. It's pretty garbage. I must say it's one of the most terrible multi BA Chi-Fi out there, and it's not cheap. Yeah, I ranked an E plus currently in my ranking list, and it's awful. I think it's awful.
And again, going back to my point, if you compare to that, those run of the mill, cheap mid-fi Chi-Fi offerings, of course Andromeda is good by comparison, but again, nobody compares thing to what the worst of the worst. And now to a point that we have again. Going back to the part 2 of that series, episode 7, now the M9 is a thing. I like to maybe compare maybe Andromeda and M9. Obviously, they don't sound similar in any way in terms of sound signature, but what I would put it as in like if Andromeda is the multi-BA entry to hi-fi IEM, I would say the Andromeda is an IEM that does nothing right, and your entry to the hi-fi IEM world. But M9 would be the IEM that does nothing wrong. And I think people can agree with me on that. Like, with the difference in sound and signature, Ken, doesn't the M9 just kind of made the Andromeda obsolete.
I will take the M7 over M9.
Jesus, M7 again. We're no M9 Andromeda.
No. Andromeda is just not good enough. Not at all. M7 is in every way better.
Right, but M9, please.
Yeah, M9 of course.
Duh. And like, and again, it's not like shitting on Andromeda. Well, it is, but again, like M9 is very recent. It's almost like a year ago, and Andromeda's been it's the old man IEM now, right? Right, Corn?
Sorry?
M9 better than Andromeda?
Of course.
I mean, yeah. It's. I think what's the big comparison there? Is it like the technical ability, or is it just like as like what's the one that the biggest gap between Andromeda and M9? Would you say?
The M9 isn't hazy.
God damn it, the hazy again.
I like that term hazy too. It describes the Andromeda perfectly for me.
Okay,
right.
I will take Andromeda over something.
Like what?
SE535. That's about it.
I have an SE535.
Yeah, but that's about it. That's like if I have to choose between the two, okay, I would just take the Andro just a little bit over the 535. That's about it.
I guess, yeah. I think, and maybe we'll have a podcast about this. And it's the CFA struggle about not being able to move past the point of the Andromeda, and obviously we have the Solaris, and without going into too much about the Solaris, we have the previous Solaris owner, and 3 people that probably don't like the Solaris very much. That's me, Ken, and Corn. But that would be a more fun episode. I don't know. Anything, guys, you want to add? Like, okay, how about this? I don't know if you have any time for left. And there's also another things that's used to be on the list, but I decided to cut it because I think I'll go too much into it. The Sony XBA-N3. I don't know if you guys want to talk about that. And I obviously hate the IEM. So let me shit on it first. So obviously, for people that don't know, that the same designer that designed the N3 later go on to make the Sony IER Z1R, and obviously I love it enough. I love the Z1R enough to buy it. And when I tried the N3, or all the XBA lineup that I've tried, I would say they are the failed experiment of the IER Z1R. They're just all the previous prototype that's failed into the bargain bin, and later you have the money no object hybrid that came out of Sony. And N3 would be, if you want a Z1R with all the problems and none of the advantage, you will buy the N3. Right, Anthony? N3 bad?
I've only listened to it for a few minutes, like maybe 15 minutes total, and yeah, I'm not a huge fan of it. It's a little too much bass, too muddy. Didn't really like the fit, so I don't really have anything good to say about it.
Right, and it's not like too much bass, as in like you always think has too much bass. It's just too much bass without any like bass resolution or texture or any of that stuff. It's just bloaty. Like it just sounds bloat. Right, it's so overpowering. It sounds like a bad fart. That's literally what it is. That's what N3 sounds like. A bad fart. Right, Corn?
I don't know.
You don't know? Don't wanna shit on Sony?
I just find it just basic, I guess, but I don't think it's that bloated. I don't think it's super bloated. I mean, it is still bloated to an extent, but I don't find it like a fart or something. I mean, it does still have power over the bass. Sorry?
So you're okay with it?
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
Huh. That's the first. Ken doesn't like it, right, Ken?
No, I do like it for certain things. So like let's just put it down first, right? So first of all, I will take N3 over Andro.
Oh God, not again.
Okay.
All right, fine.
Of course, N3 has its flaws and its good. So like instead of bloaty, I find it more a little bleed. Like it does bleed a little more than bloaty. That's I guess that is an issue. So it can't take very complex stuff, it will get congested. I think that's a bigger problem for me. But at the price and 2 years back, there was a lot of discount going on with the official store and stuff. It's like 200, 220 US and USD and thereabouts. So it was a pretty good price, and it does. And well, then again, we go back to the 2 years ago. There were not a lot of cheap and stuff. So and N3 and with the discounted on sale price is beating the crap out of everything there.
Right, and I think that, you know, as you pointed out, going back to the N3 is relatively old, and when it came out, it's very old, and when it came out, Z1R was not a thing. So N3 for its time is actually a very again back in the day, the mid-fi hybrid thing it's not very that. There's not too many entry into that category, and even for under $300, there's really not that many things that's, you know, when it came out it's good, but again, the same problem as the Andro, over time it people's expectations, you know, change as it should. As better things comes out, your expectations should really change with the time. So when Z1R came out, it again not 4 times as much, cost 4 times as much, but it really showed us what that kind of sound signature can do. And with the release of Z1R, I think it points out a lot of the flaws of N3, as in just
I think the existence of Z1R proves one thing. The N3 did well. The company likes what and the engineer of N3, you know, for what he did, and got him to do Z1R. So the existence of Z1R is a testament of the engineer doing good for the N3. Means the N3 actually performed well in terms of sales and people liking it, people recommending people to buy, and it actually got good.
So yeah, I think the best part about N3 is that it created the Z1R. So I think that's what if you want to buy it, just you know, just to think about what your Z1R came from, that blow-T bass hybrid.
Yeah, because N3 when he started out, I think that the engineer wasn't a senior engineer at the time, and he didn't he wasn't given unlimited budget, right? And with the little he had, he did something that was good for the bracket and good for consumers. But after all, N3 was targeted for consumers, and it got good sale. And I guess, well, he performed well, and the company say hey, you know, okay, we're gonna promote you, make the next flagship. Well, we have a lot of money. You can throw some money in. We that sound control, whatever chamber thing that you did. So just make it happen.
Right, and from a design standpoint, if you ever look at the inside of N3, it's very a toned down Z1R, but I think that system doesn't really scale well, toning it down. You know, as in you really need a big chamber for that DD to breathe. And again, you can kind of see this natural progression for something that has a budget, you have to get this IEM under $300. Versus money no object IEM, make this thing work Z1R, right? And that's why N3 is, you know, you can see what why Z1R came from the N3, but it's just completely different. But here's a better question: since Andro isn't a hybrid, CFM do have their own hybrids, N3 and Solaris. Which one would you take, Ken?
N3 anytime.
Oh boy, Corn.
Sorry.
N3 or Solaris? Which one would you take?
Solaris.
Oh, see, there you go. Finally, not a shady Singaporean.
Yay.
Okay. I need to back this up. Come on. So yes, technical abilities, Solaris definitely wins. Sure. There's no two ways about it. Yeah, some quirks, weird tone here and there, but yeah, technical abilities it does win. But hey, if I'm getting a hybrid, I want a bass, right? That Solaris is no bass compared to N3. I might as well get another capable full BA setup at the same price. 8SL maybe.
Anthony, from the ex-Solaris owner.
Yeah, I would definitely pick the Solaris, but you know, I ended up selling it because I couldn't get the fit, just like the Z1R. Maybe top of the line hybrids are not for me because of my ears.
Just remind the audience again, what did you sell Solaris for?
What did I sell it for?
What did you get?
Oh.
What did you get right before you sold your Solaris? Just remind us.
Some chi-fi thing. Yeah.
Oh, some Tri-Fi? What's that Tri-Fi again?
Yeah. VX.
Oh. Ow.
Yeah, just
Thank
get the
you.
VX.
Welcome. There you go, Jeff. Please.
So you bought the VX and you sold the Solaris right after you bought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You did.
So
Yeah.
the story was I bought the Solaris. I really liked it, but then I realized I couldn't wear it for more than like an hour or two at a time because it hurt too much.
You wrote that on your review.
Yeah.
I have a Solaris review.
Yeah.
And then keep going with your story.
Yeah, and then I don't know. I think there was this dude on HeadFi, Overlord Rush or somebody like that, who kept on shilling this Chinese thing, which I'd never heard of before.
Lovely guy. I bet he's a great guy.
On both Reddit and HeadFi, yeah. And then I ended up getting to demo it, the VX anyway, and I bought it pretty much right when I got home. So
right, love at first sight, isn't it, huh?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
it was on it was the weekend before July 4th. I remember that because that delayed my shipment by a day.
As in, I have to give some credit back to Solaris. Solaris is not bad. It has a C plus in.
C plus. Solaris isn't bad. It's one and a half.
It's just average.
C plus.
Yeah. I mean, look, if it's D, it is But like to get into C in my list means it's proper. At least it sounds alright. It has something going on. So it has some hooks in there with its tone. It has a dip and a treble. The DD bass is might not be BA bass, but as a whole, it is not bad.
C plus for $15.99 is kind of bad for me.
I'm saying objectively for just the performance, but if you say to price, obviously it's not a good price to performance ratio. Not at all.
As I would put it, Solaris is the most expensive $800 IEM you will ever get in your life. But enough shitting on CFA. I'm sure we'll find a full episode of doing that when we do our CFA.
I had Solaris for a good 2 weeks demo, so I have heard it long enough.
Do you know you have driver flex? It's $1,500 if you put it you're supposed to deep insert it, but then if you put it into your ear far enough, if it has driver flex.
It does actually. I did experience that because I was trying to get.
Yeah.
I was playing around with fit, so I try shallow fit, try deep fit, and deeper, better seal. You hear a pop.
Yeah, for $1,500.
I do get driver flex. It wasn't very severe, but yes, I did get it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, come on, that's like Chi-Fi problem, dude. That's like Chi-Fi problem, man. $1,500. I have driver flex on my CE5. I bought that CE5 for $650. That's annoying. I can live with it, right? $1,500. You buy a new right now, $1,000. You have driver flex. Come on.
I'm assuming Z1R doesn't have that.
No, it has a big fucking vent on it. I don't know, man. It's just like some design issue. Again, people in China loves the Solaris, and it's like they love it. And every time I go on those IEM meets when I'm in China, they were it would just be pushed onto me. It's so I feel like I have to hate it, right? Try this, it's great. And I think again, coming with the problem of Andro, again, bringing it back to hating on Andro, it really depends on where you come from, right? If you never really try any good hybrids, really, really good hybrids, you'll think the Solaris is all right, I mean, Solaris released a good 1-2 months before Z1R, and back in the day, you're only comparing to LX and comparing to Tia Trio, the other two American hybrids, and I think at that time Solaris really stands up.
Yeah, Trio's not very good. In my opinion.
I love Trio. What is wrong with you?
I don't like it.
Trio's great. I mean, fine, whatever.
I think over Solaris anytime.
I would take Trio. Yeah, see, exactly. Trio's probably the best hybrid at the time, before Z1R. So I feel like it's not as saying Trio is so much better than Solaris. I think they for the expensive kilobucks hybrid, I think Solaris compares really well against the other two hybrid that's out there. But I think 2 months later, as Sony would have done it yet again to kill CFA, they have released a better hybrid that's just better in pretty much every single way. That's on foot. As as things go, Andro lasted a good 3 years until M9 killed it. Solaris lasted a good 2 months until Z1R killed it. So I think that's such is the life of Campfire Audio, unfortunately. but I think it comes from expectation. You know, me coming from Gemini, when I tried Solaris the first time, I never really find the DD bass on it that impressive, and maybe people want to touch up on how people don't like, you know, Ken want to touch up on how he doesn't like the DD bass on Solaris. But I think, like, you know, Solaris is just average, even with the DD bass added to it compared to my Gemini. And Ken, Solaris bass, I think you'll love that one.
No, I mean it's DD, but I like mentioned just now, might as well not be DD.
It's sloppy, right?
I would say it's sloppy. It just does not have the rumble.
Right.
I think that's I mean, for me, I'm a sub bass lover, so like if it doesn't rumble enough, then well, just have a BA, right?
And Anthony, I mean, you don't really like you're known for not liking, you know, bass. So, but you also have the Solaris. Why did you get the Solaris like first?
Well, first off, I say I don't like bass, but I like sub bass. I just don't like heavily I can't talk right now. Heavy elevated bass. The Solaris I found was okay. So when I first got it, I found it was okay because I don't need a lot of bass. I just need a little bit, and it provides a little bit of bass. And I thought when I came into buying a flagship, I wanted a hybrid because I wanted, you know, a DD plus BA, that combination. And then, you know, once I got the VX and tried them both side by side, I'm like, wow, this BA on the VX can sound just as good, if not a lot better, than the Solaris's bass. It actually gave a lot better texture, a lot better resolution, actually had more weight to it. And yeah, that sealed the deal pretty quickly for me.
I think we have just said goodbye to our CFA sponsorship, but
I would think M7 bass over Solaris.
Ouch. That's harsh, man. Come on.
It's a fact, you know.
And yeah, I think, you know, I think just bring it to the end. I think we're done enough shitting on, and I think it's just like the bass texture is just not there, man.
Yeah, the bass texture. Yeah, because even M7 had a bass texture.
Yeah, it lacks sub bass, it lacks texture, and it lacks impact. So what is like, and that's all you want from a hybrid, right? That's the point that you're having a hybrid is just you get the texture, get the impact, and then get the sub bass rumble.
Impact was all right for me for Solaris. It was mainly
compared to what? Compared to Trio? Compared to LX? Come on, man.
No, compared to a BA, it's fine.
No, but no. LX Trio.
Oh,
way better pick.
As a hybrid, it might as well be a BA.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's one of the worst hybrid bass out there on the market right now, and you're paying $1.5 grand for it. I'm saying, like, call me a fucking Chi-Fi hater, a Chi-Fi lover, right? But like, compared to the American offering, like, compared to Trio, compared to LX, I don't like the LX that much, but I can say that LX DD bass sounds way better than Solaris. All right. Anybody have anything?
I agree. I mean, at least there's bass.
Right, at least there's bass, right? At least it sounds like a DD, right? There's no doubt about it. It's in there. But enough. I think this has gone way too long. No more CFA shitting.
You don't want to talk about the IO? Just joking.
I've not heard it. No. Maybe some other day. Maybe when I get to hear it IO. But I don't think you should post this on Reddit. I think we'll get a lot of hate on that. Secret episode.
Yeah.
All right, we're done. Cut it.